Greetings, listeners, and welcome to On the Spectrum podcast, a show that explores the many complexities and diversities of being on the spectrum. We are your hosts, David and Lorena.
Hello.
And today we are joined by Scott.
Hi.
Hello, welcome, Scott.
Thank you.
Would you like to start by telling our listeners a little bit about yourself and about this amazing, wonderful environment that you've set up here?
Yeah, sure, no worries. Cool. So yeah, as you said, my name is Scott, and I'm the founder of Dice Tower Gaming. Currently a board game cafe in Basingstoke, or at least it was intended to be a board game cafe. It's kind of grown a little bit into a little bit of a local centre of geekiness that, that we're having an awful lot of fun with. So yeah. 2 years now.
Great. 2 years now.
2 years now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So did it grow? Was it before just like a single room and it's expanded?
We've always had this location that we're in at the moment because this used to be part of the hotel. But of course lockdown happened and everything kind of changed. And the hotel either decided not to reopen again or to redo it, but it left this beautiful part of the building kind of absolutely dead and unused. And, you know, at the time we were all coming out of lockdown and we were all kind of deciding what we wanted to do with ourselves. And it was kind of, I was going through that journey where I thought, you know what, I'm gonna take a plunge and, try and go out and create something. And so we managed to jump in on this space here. It started off very, very basic. And it's kind of grown and grown and grown and grown. And now it's, now it is what it is. And we're very fortunate because we're actually looking to potentially expand at the moment. Maybe even looking at a different kind of location where we can see if we can get another dice tower, the two towers, if you will.
Yeah, that would be cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think we haven't been here before, have we? I think the only one has been Nairobi, and then she was pushing us, like, come on there, let's do the podcast there. You need to come even in your free time. Is it? And then the conclusion after being here is like, yeah, we definitely need to come.
Oh yes, I'm bringing my wife here, 100%.
Yeah. We try and suck you in with all the fun kind of relaxed kind of bits and pieces. I mean, like I absolutely love this place because I get to surround myself with all the things that I love. You know, all the comic books, all the games and everything, all of that environment. I get to go to work every day with my comic book collection, and that's a win for me right there.
There you go. And work's not work if you enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly that.
And I love the fact that you're getting to the point now where you're thinking of expanding. You've obviously there's a market for this. There's obviously something that draws people into this kind of environment.
It's definitely got something to it, and like I say, it's not what I expected it was going to be. I initially thought it was going to be, pretty much a board game cafe where people came along to play games, and we'd have the coffee machine on the side and maybe turn over a few lattes and cappuccinos whilst we were doing it to kind of keep it going. But it's actually kind of become more of like a cafe, restaurant, meeting place that just so happens to have board games there as well. It's kind of a different aspect to it, which has been fun.
That's great. So it's sort of developed its own kind of like customers and social hub kind of.
Yeah. It's very much the place seems to have a character unto itself, which has been fun discovering. And I'll be honest with you, it's still coming out and it's still changing every single day. So it's a bit of a roller coaster, really.
And that's awesome as well, because obviously people come in here, they're like-minded, they enjoy the games, they enjoy it, and it's good to share that kind of experience with people.
Yeah, big time. I mean, it's the games in particular, I think, are an absolutely fantastic way to kind of bridge, the small talk barrier that you can get across the table. If you put a game in front of two people, all of a sudden, it kind of opens everyone up to it, and it kind of helps to kind of build the conversation, build the experience, build the relationship, and just takes the pressure off.
Games are great like that as well, isn't it? It's almost like because I always see them as kind of like a training thing. I love games. I think the whole concept, and we were talking about gamification earlier about educating people through games and things like that. So I think it's a great catalyst for that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and also for the social skills, learning how. Like when I was working with some children in another school, we would would practice turn taking and fairness and understanding rules and working together in order to overcome things. And it's all stuff that you can find within these games.
Absolutely. It acts as a natural icebreaker. It can act as like kind of like a social lubricant, if you will, just to kind of just set everyone at ease. And at the same time, it engages those problem solving kind of skills. It engages that teamwork aspect. It engages a little bit of friendly competitiveness. Sometimes a little bit of intense competitiveness. We've all seen Monopoly flipped over a few times. But
Monopoly's the classic one, though.
It's because
it's about money.
But yeah, it's brilliant.
And I was interested as well, the role-playing games. I have I've played a few role-playing games. I was Shadrach the Ill. That was my character.
Excellent.
a dying veteran just doing one last adventure. He didn't last very long because I didn't know what the dice did at the time. I was still learning. But basically, one of the things I wanted to highlight, or I thought was great, was that role play aspect where you can experiment with a different version of yourself or some kind of aspect of your personality can be implemented into the game, and you can experiment with that.
Exactly that. And I tell you what, some of the most rewarding experiences that we've had here have actually been related around. We have a Dungeons and Dragons night here every single week that is become one of our highlights, one of our kind of big, staples of the week. And seeing people that come in from day one that come in with ridiculous levels of shyness and not able to kind of meet people's eyes, just kind of very much racked with social anxiety. But you put them on a table and Dungeons and Dragons, and they put a character in front of them. It's almost like they put on a mask, and it opens them up. And those same people that we had that genuinely wouldn't be able to meet your eye when they first came through the door, they're bounding it at the moment and everything, and trying to call people across the bar so they can swap ideas or get questions about their character, and then kind of jump in on the table and go quest and go adventure in the evening. Just really sort of
that's
awesome. Things up a bit.
That is great. Yeah. And you think about it, those are transferable as well. These are skills that they could be learning while they're here, having a good time, playing the game, doing the thing they love.
Yeah.
But then that's something that will be in their mind for when they go out there, and it could potentially give them some good life skills.
I think it's a practice interaction, because when you sat there on the table and everyone is playing these different characters, it's almost like okay, so this is pretty much like a practice run on how I would interact with a person like this, and a practice run on how I'd interact with a person like that, without running the risk of kind of any particular social embarrassment or anything, because we're all around the table, we're all friends, we're all here to have a good time.
And I think it's interesting how you say like the game, so I am not able to talk to people, or I have difficulties to talk to people, that's me, but when you put a character in front of me, is that I become that character, and I'm able to do things that I'm not able when I'm not that character, but I am practicing to a point that it becomes that I become able myself, and I actually overcome those difficulties, and I think that is important. And we brought you actually the Dungeons and Dragons when we did the first podcast with Andy, because he wrote an article about how important it is that put the game in the middle, and you see how those people that have difficulties overcome those difficulties, just about playing and having fun, really, because they come here to have fun, do they? Not thinking of, let me just socialize because I need to.
It's intense, isn't it? You come out with a specific thing of, I'm going to go to a place tonight and I'm going to socialize with people and I'm going to have fun. That's a lot of pressure to put on yourself right there. But yeah,
and especially after COVID, I think COVID make like a big barrier there and put people at home, and then this is like a place that you can come to have fun, and then let's put, as what you said. And actually I was thinking like, because we normally don't do that layout, and it's like, we're just missing the game here in the middle. Are you not having that feeling of like, can we just grab one Monopoly or something? Because it's exactly what we are missing even for us.
Absolutely.
I think the environment invites you to get like, get that board game and bring it here.
That's the other thing. When you first walk in here and you see all the games that are available, I mean, literally my mind was just going, that looks fun, that looks good, that's good. Do you know what I mean? I was just like checking
and
everything
you're like, come on Dave, podcast.
I know, but yeah, seriously, it seems very welcoming, and like you said, like when people play games and they get, they're more comfortable and stuff, I just think that's really inviting. Big time. So did you spend a lot of time with the environment, setting up all the posters and all this? Did you think about sort of like what would entice people in? Or?
We're still doing that at the moment, actually. It's funny you say that, because I've been in the process of redecorating lately, and I myself, I kind of suffer from a fair bit of anxiety and stress and everything, and there's a lot of demands, and there's something that I find particularly therapeutic about the pictures that go up on the wall around here. And so it's something I've noticed myself very recently is actually hanging these pictures up on the wall and getting artwork from the stuff that I like around here. There's just something kind of soothing, and there's something kind of calming, and it just kind of just sort of brings you back to, or at least it does with me, it just brings you back to kind of like a nice kind of place. So at the moment we're looking at getting a load more artwork up that's kind of targeted at Monday Night Magic: The Gathering crowds, and we've also got one of the rare few Final Fantasy gaming groups that comes down and meets here as well. Who,
Cool.
Few and far between, so we're trying to get some artwork up for them at the moment.
Final Fantasy is like the video game.
A trading card game
It's a
based on the video.
Oh,
games.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, fair enough.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's not too many groups that play it. It's one of the lesser known titles, but we've actually managed to find basically a group that's really quite keen on it, and we've got a little hub of Final Fantasy enthusiasts.
Oh, nice.
Here at the moment, which is great fun.
That's cool. Yeah, and I like it as well
I'm
because
out of these games, guys. Like,
it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
I heard that is a big deal, but I'm not.
It's when we first opened here, there was so much going on, and there was never enough hours in the day. And
wow.
the team was constantly telling me, Scott, you got to learn to play Dungeons and Dragons. You got to learn to play Magic. And I kept on saying, I've got so much on my plate. I don't have time. I've not got the headspace for this. But they finally talked me into it, and it was with Magic: The Gathering in particular. I actually ended up discovering something that I really, really loved. And now it's more of a case of I play Magic: The Gathering to kind of deal with when I've got too much on my plate, or when I've got other stuff going on that I can't get.
So it's like the
my
release,
focus.
like
It's like you said that it was therapeutic, and sometimes it is a bit of escapism, but also, and also I think you're up for, you're more when you're engaged with something. We were talking about how you're more open to learning, and you're more open to having discussions and socializing with people, because you've got like this safety net of we're talking about the game, but then obviously it can veer off into other areas and what have you. But it's just a great way to open people up, like you say.
Big time. It's a great way to build and create relationships as well. I mean, particularly with the Dungeons and Dragons, we've got friendship groups that have met over the table that had never met before, but got placed on the table for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. We've had guys that ended up being roommates because they worked so well together on a particular campaign or quest, because of it. And it creates connections with people, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, certainly. Awesome.
Yeah, we're talking before about the playing, and I think I wonder if someone has done research about that. Maybe we can have a look in the laptop. But I went to a course for my little one, and they were saying teach a child something, and then in repetitions he needs to do up to 400 repetitions to actually fully learn it. If you do the same through the game, up to 10 or probably less, and he's already got it. So if you see the difference between one and another, and I wonder if for adults was the same way. So if I teach an adult how to be in a social environment, how to talk to people, especially we are talking about neurodivergent those neurodivergent minds, and then they have difficulties in socializing, in social environment, socializing, talking to others, understanding those social rules and stuff like that. If I need to teach you through social stories, like role play, kind of in a adult situation that is kind of boring, it will take for how long? Meanwhile, if I throw you here in a really relaxed environment with a cup of coffee, as you said, like give me a latte, a cappuccino, put the board in the middle, and here we are again. Like, how many days takes a person to do those steps without actually even realizing that they are doing it?
It's fascinating.
So I wonder if someone has done that.
Factor, that's fun. I mean, that's how kids learn. Like little kids, they play, and it's instinctive. They instinctively play with whatever toy they have, or a person could become a toy to them. Like they instinctively want to play, and through the play, they learn motor skills. They learn the social skills. They learn communication, all through this kind of like the enjoyment of interaction. And I think that there's no reason why that can't be applied to adults as well.
To an adult,
that are having maybe difficulties in those areas, and these kind of things are just a support network to try and home in on those skills.
I wonder if there's a certain amount of kind of open-mindedness that, at least a mindset of open-mindedness that it kind of forces you into, because like you say, when when you're dealing with kids, if you put a toy in front of them, they'll figure it out. They're very open-minded to the possibilities. We're going to go in, we're going to do this. But I think as we grow older and we kind of get bogged down by, these are the rules, this is how you have to act and everything. If that kind of mindset shifts to a little bit more kind of a closed state, if you will. But again, you put a game in front of them, and if you kind of genuinely put the challenge in there, you've got to figure this out and how it goes. There are no rules. You figure out the rules. Maybe it does kind of open that up, and it just makes me wonder if there's something to it.
It's a spark of creativity as well, because I think as we get older, sometimes our creativity, like you say, can be a bit crushed because we've got to deal with the reality of the world and what's going on. And and sometimes, coming in here and seeing like this, just seeing all these, the artwork on the walls and everything, it takes me to a place in my head that seems more creative and, like you said, more open-minded.
Yeah.
And I think that can lower some anxieties, because it's almost like, I don't have to always be like, 9 to 5 dealing with the real world bills and all this sort of stuff. Sometimes I can just have fun and enjoy this dream escape that I can create in my mind. Yeah.
We've got literally all of the artwork that we've got around here, we either find fun or it makes us laugh. There's so many silly jokes and so many dad jokes and so many pun level kind of humor around here. It just is that, but that's pretty much the target. If we don't think it's fun, if it doesn't make us laugh, then it doesn't really belong here.
That makes sense though. It makes it a nice icebreaker between people where they can all have a laugh at, oh, look at that, and start those conversations going. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I like the variety as well, because obviously I heard of this place was board games and Dungeons and Dragons, D&D and that. But then when I come in, I see that you've got Star Wars things, you've got Deadpool stuff, you've got comics, you've got all kinds of so there's a lot of even consoles, which is my favorite thing. And so I was admiring some of your console collections you got there. So you've got a lot of diversity.
Well, it's reflective of the team. So pretty much, like I said, I wanted to come to a place where I could be, surrounded by my comic books and the stuff that I love. And I kind of wanted that for the rest of the team as well. And everyone's got different focuses and different things that they love. So whether it's the movie posters or whether it's the games, we've tried to bring that in. I mean, my partner Martin over there, he's obsessive with retro video consoles. If you ever want an extended debate about Street Fighter 2, he's the fella to talk to. Sure. And so we turned around and said, well, then let's get the retro gaming systems in. Let's have some fun with this kind of stuff. Yeah. I must admit, when it comes to gaming, there's something about a 3 life and a high scoreboard kind of system of playing games. It's just, you just don't seem to get as much these days. It's the golden era, if you will.
Sure. But you're bringing it back and keeping it alive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I mean, my big thing coming in here was the comic books. It wasn't actually the gaming when we came in here. That was, other members of the team. I'd never played Dungeons and Dragons before we came in here, but I've got guys that started this place with me that absolutely love Dungeons and Dragons. So we said, okay, if that's your passion, then that's what we're going to throw in here. Yeah. The comic books, they were my passion, and I've brought them in here. It kind of seems only right that if we're going to spend our time here, it should be fun and it should kind of be reflective of what we enjoy.
Yeah. Great.
Is there any client that has brought any idea of you could do or it would be good to do kind of thing as well?
All the time. Okay. All the time, constantly. It's a bit of a double-edged sword on that one, because we absolutely love trying new stuff and new ideas. But because the place does have so many potential, there's so many ideas.
I bet.
You don't have enough days in the day to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So the amount of time we have people coming up and going, have you ever thought about trying this? We're like, we'd love to. There's just no time.
We have a massive wish list.
Exactly. But yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough. You're going to start circulating ideas and doing one thing one week, one thing the next. But that just goes to show that if people are coming in and suggesting ideas for you, I mean, that must mean that they're passionate about this place, or and it's become something that's very important to them.
Yeah. And I've got to be honest with you, that makes me more proud than anything else. When you actually see people come in here and settle in, and they kind of almost take ownership of it. It's almost become what you'd expect, the traditional local pub would be, but for this particular community. Yeah. And I mean, it's not just a particular community, because what we found is that we've got people from so many different backgrounds coming in here, and they're just kind of latching on to kind of one thing that they have in common, and that kind of creates the bridge that sort of starts building the relationships, because it's it's absolutely wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful when you see people connecting over one point that they might not otherwise connect over.
Yeah.
Like Dungeons and Dragons, for example, it usually only takes one person in a group of people that have never spoken about Dungeons and Dragons before to turn around and say, you know, I fancy playing that. And all of a sudden you see a few other hands go, yeah, I wouldn't mind trying that. Or yeah, I've played before, or I've been part of an online game, or, you know, I was on Skype or video call and we played a bit of Dungeons and Dragons, and it goes from there.
It builds from there.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, like, listening to you, I'm really amused, because when you think about as well these environments, and then we're talking about, let's do like neurodivergent friendly environments, and then you're like, what you're doing, what you have to do, what you're accommodating, and then listening to you is like nothing really. It's just as simple as putting the game in the middle of the table, and then people from different backgrounds with different interests, people that will probably outside here will never put themselves together, just because there is something in common as simple
interest,
as a game, because we're not talking about magic here. It's just a board game, or
there's no pressure
a
as
cards
well.
game, or like,
just
you know,
that one
that
thing.
simple thing brings everybody together, where everybody has their own space to be themselves without pressure, to have fun, to share things together, and probably people realizing that they have more in common, more things in common that actually in a different way.
Exactly,
like we can think differently, but we still have things in common that can put us together.
Certainly.
Do that make sense in what I'm saying? So sometimes when you're like, what are you doing to accommodate this for a neurodivergent people? It's like, probably the answer is nothing.
We're getting out of the way.
Getting out of the way and allowing them to be themselves.
Have games and games and games everywhere. That's probably the answer. I mean, I'm answering for you, but do you
I think
agree?
you're exactly right with that. Yeah, it really, really is the case. We're just trying to let people be themselves, you know, and just kind of providing the opportunities. And you'll find as soon as people kind of have those opportunities, they get a little bit more comfortable with it, and they start coming out of their shells a little bit more, and you start to see the real people a bit more. And as soon as you do that, you start building relationships, and before you know it, you know, you've got games going everywhere, you've got conversations going with people that you wouldn't normally kind of expect to be in your inner circles, you know, and it just it builds.
That's amazing. That's you should be really proud of this, I think, because it's quite, because we know from experience, we worked with neurodivergent people for a long time. We're just particularly talking about them for the moment. Yeah. But it's getting them to socialise and get them to understand fairness and rules and things. These are things that they can find very, very tricky. Yeah. And we did use some board games and things like that. But I think the difference that this place has is that we'd send them to like a social group or a social, and then it's kind of like there's a pressure put on them to say like, oh, this has been made for you so that you can learn how to socialise and
assigning fun.
Assigning fun. That's a good way of putting it. Whereas what you've got here is just like, it's your choice. You come down. There's no pressure. It's not that you have to learn anything. This is just what's going to naturally come out of the experience in this place.
Yeah.
So that's
and
awesome.
the fact that it's not marked, it's like, this is for you guys, because you are like this. You need to come here, like, to have fun. You need to come here. So it's like, this is a place where everybody has a room to be if they want to be.
Exactly.
No matter how you are, how you think, what you think, you have still a place to be yourself.
Precisely that. And it's kind of the place that I kind of wish was around when I was younger. You know, it's just when you're just kind of looking for a place to just let loose, you know, just kind of chill out for a bit. One of the big focuses that we have around here is that you do not have to play games to come here at all. You can literally just come in, pick up a sofa and just kick back, chill out, and just let the world go by for a while. Because sometimes that's what you need, you know?
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. No, that makes sense as well. Yeah. Because I suppose, do people... Do they pay like a fixed rate and then they're open to playing everything, or is it sort of...
Yeah. So, I mean, currently today, if you wanted to play any of the games, you'd pay £3. And then you get access to the full gaming library, which we keep trying to count. We think it's around the 450 mark at the moment. But we've got the arcade machines over there. We don't have any coin slots on the arcade machines. We've got the air hockey table over there. We don't have any coin slots on the air hockey table. So it's one of those things of you pay £3, pop a wristband on, and then you get free access to everything. And the thing that we're trying to do differently from a lot of other gaming cafes that you might see in the industry at the moment is we don't do time limits. So I think standard practice with a lot of kind of gaming cafes, or well, at least a more common practice with a lot of gaming cafes, is you'd be limited to 2 hours, 3 hours, and you pay for time slots on top of that. We don't do any of that because we have no idea how long a game is going to last. And there's something that kind of takes away from the experience a little bit if you're looking at your watch when you've kind of got a game in the middle of the table. If you guys are getting into something and you want to see it through to the end, you kind of got to see it through to the end and see what that game takes you, you know, and that's what.
Plus, you're going to keep those guys as well, because if they come and have a full-on experience where, like you said, they're not being interrupted by time restraints and things, they're going to be like, "Oh, I'm coming back here." You know, so you're the longevity of people coming back is probably a big factor in the fact that you do that.
Yeah. Oh, big time. I mean,
that's great. You're totally selling me on it. I'm coming.
It's totally.
We'll head up. We'll book you in a second. We get the wristbands.
But I think that's what that place had. Like, you come in and you start looking around. It's like, I don't know anything about consoles or video games or things like that. But I've been wandering around and I saw board games that I know from when I was a kid in Spain and I played. So it's like, even when you are not through one side, I'm sure that you can find something that piques you and it's like, caught your eye, like, oh, there we go. This is what I'm gonna play today, or I feel like. So even if it's not like the Dungeons and Dragons and things like that, which I'm not, I'm here like.
It's intimidating.
It's unknown, but it's still things that you wander around. It's like, oh, actually, I know this game. I've got that one at home and that one.
Yeah, but like Scott says, that could be the hook, and then later you'd be like, you know what, they look like having fun playing D&D over there. I might have a little go. I've always wanted to be a sorceress. You know?
But I tell you what, it's one of the biggest objectives that we've had as well, is you do get a lot of games that are quite intimidating to get into, and there's a lot of places out there, if you do want to play, you're expected to already know how to do it. And so we try and kind of get away from that completely. Like, I mean, Dungeons and Dragons, we have people that have never played Dungeons and Dragons before every single week that only know the words Dungeons and Dragons, no other aspects of the game. And we're absolutely really, really gifted and really, really lucky because we've got a whole kind of groups of DMs, our dungeon masters that run the games, that come down here every single week and they help people take that first step and find that thing that they relate to and the thing that they absolutely love. So you don't need anything to kind of do it. It's the same with Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is an incredibly fun game system. It is also very expensive and it requires an awful lot of intense tactical thinking when you're playing it. It's intimidating. If you turn around and said, right guys, go grab some decks, we're going to play Magic the Gathering. We actually make a point of having all of the stuff that you need to play Magic the Gathering, but not just that, but we've got people on hand that can actually give you that first step into it. Completely pressure-free environment around there, so you can actually give it a try and find out if it's your favorite and find out, know what, I tried, it wasn't for me, I'm going to go find something else.
That's great to have though, because I remember I got invited around my friend's house to try the role play of Resident Evil 2. Which was actually really, really fun. But having him there and the way he sat down and explained all the rules and stuff, because I'll be honest, he brought out the map and the little figurines and everything, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to work, but okay, we'll go for it.
And then you're expecting a good evening today.
But honestly, it took about half an hour of him explaining, and then probably about half an hour of me actually playing to get the gist of it. And within an hour, I'm really enjoying myself, and I'm experiencing something that I'd never experienced. You know, I've played the game, like the video game, but the board game was brilliant. It was doing something different, but it still had the character of the game. Yeah. And like you said, like you just having someone there just to explain those basic rules to you, or to get it into your head how the structure of the game works, and then you're in it and having fun within no time.
It's literally a game changer.
If you have experience with neurodivergent people before, and how may you feel working here and what you learn?
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. So I've worked with a lot of people who have been neurodivergent or suspected or identified as, and the big thing that I think I've learned is pretty much it all comes back to that open-mindedness, that aspect of it. So quite a long time ago, I got taught by one of the execs when I was working down at the University of Southampton to try and approach a situation from a place of yes. What I mean by that is don't be a yes man, but literally when an interaction or when an opportunity or when a question is kind of posed to you, try to get your mindset where you're thinking about it initially from the place of yes, we can do this, or yes, we can kind of open this up, as opposed to the option of, oh no, that'll never work, or oh no, that'll do it. Start with the what if it does kind of thing. And that, I think, has been one of the biggest and most valuable lessons that I've ever kind of taken. And I think it's helped with a lot of relationships with a lot of people. And it's particularly relevant when you're dealing with people from a neurodivergent background, because when you start from that place of yes, it opens your mind up to consider the possibilities. What is it that this person is looking for? Or kind of what is it that they're kind of responding to? Kind of look for the opportunity where you can have that genuine interaction, as opposed to going from a place of no, we don't fit together. Okay, I'm going to stick to a few one-word answers and see you later kind of thing.
I see. Yeah. But you're trying to build up that engagement factor and just trying to reflect what the other person gives you.
Just coming from that place of yes, and just I think once you kind of open that up, it kind of comes back to the whole doing nothing aspect of it, because you end up responding an awful lot to the person, and just kind of facilitating and giving them the opportunity to kind of come out of their shell a little bit more, to give you that glimpse of the real person a little bit more, and that builds the relationship, and then you kind of get an idea of how you're going to interact with this person, and that creates so many opportunities moving forward. So I always hated the line, kind of talk to other people how you would like to be talked to. I'm a firm believer that you should try and take a moment and see if you can learn how that person would like to be talked to. I know how I would like to be talked to, but they're not me.
Everyone's different, individual.
That extra little bit of time and just trying to think, okay, how would this person like to be talked to? And if you can kind of go from that sort of that open-minded place, then people will kind of work with you, and they'll give you an awful lot, even if they're not realizing that they're kind of giving you an awful lot to work with, and that creates opportunity.
I think it's important what you're saying, because when you start thinking with a no and with the labels, I think your unconscious bias is working for you, and it blocks everything. I
totally understand. I've never articulated it in that way, but I think that's a good way of looking at it, because building relationship, working with neurodivergent children, for example, sometimes they give you attitude from the moment go, and like you said, you can't just give them attitude back. That's not going to work. That's not the way that they work.
Doesn't want to work with me.
In a way, sometimes they want to test you. They want to see, what are you about? Are you going to have the patience to deal with me? And because I think a lot of this stuff does go on in their heads. And like you said, a lot of the time that I build positive relationships with children, it could have started off, not so positive. It could have been aggressive at the start. They could have been shouting at me, throwing things at me. But after the while, they kind of realize, he's not there to bug me. He's not there. He's there as a support, and it takes a while to build up. Because I think the only way they come up with that conclusion is when the relationship is built. Yeah, and when they've got that kind of safety of like, okay, I know what you're about now. You're not here to punish me. You're not here to do any of that jazz. You're just here to support me and to have fun with me.
Exactly that. I think there's a certain amount of kind of reflecting that people do off of each other as well. So when you do approach it from that, you kind of almost encourage the other person to adopt a similar kind of posture too.
But it happens as well that we don't give up, and as you don't give up, I think that happened in the school, for instance, a lot. You don't give up as a staff. You know that you need to build that relationship with a child, because it's the only way that you're gonna do things with the child, and then you don't give up, and your frame of mind is working on where is the way?
What's the angle?
What is the clip? Where I need to get? Where you have the switch, and I need to look for different, because some people are really straightforward, as some children are really straightforward. Some of them are not that straightforward, and you need to start kind of like a dice. Like, let me see in what way, to a point that you go with a click. You click with a child, and then off we go. But I think because we have that frame of mind of, I cannot give up, I have to find it, that let us do it, and
like
then we
yes thing.
accommodate
Yeah.
everything. Meanwhile, when we come out of those contexts, it becomes really difficult, and I don't know why, because probably we have those stereotypes, those labels, those like, this is not gonna work, this person is like, is really weird, he doesn't talk to me like that, or he doesn't talk to me like this, or he does this, or he does that.
Yeah.
And we are already in the no.
Yeah.
Because that's the no position.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if we are like, let me see, how can I find the click?
Exactly.
Not seeing the label or anything else. It's like, maybe I can talk to you as I'm talking to you, and then I will find the click for both. Eventually, I will find the click.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once you've done that,
and as
it
soon
opens
as
up so many
it does.
opportunities.
Yeah, and it's mainly that safety net. I think. I mean, they feel safe with you, and that's
Seeing it from the outside, guys, in your conversation, a lot of the things that you were saying, why is this so neurodivergent friendly? Actually, it's a lot of the things that we do at school.
Yes.
Positive reinforcement, learning through play.
Yeah.
Like,
certainly.
practices,
Yeah.
But you guys are talking about the same thing, but from different kind of perspectives.
Yeah.
But you guys, we do kind of.
But I
very
think,
similar
I think
stuff.
it kind of coalesces, doesn't it? Kind of like the same kind of entity is underneath this.
I think it just doubles down with the message that everyone is a human and everyone has got the same kind of potential regardless of their background, and the same potential to interact with people.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think we need to say, as Nairobi says, because you have your own space, you can be your own self. That is what happened at school. But at the same time, when we come out of these bubbles, because we always say London is at the end of the day a bubble, and then because everybody understands, because everybody has a knowledge. But at the end of the day, there are many other people that are neurodivergent, that they are not in the bubble of London, but they still have entitlement to live their lives and access the community, like to be free to come to a pub and have fun as everybody else does, without that label, without the consequences of the label. And I think this place brings that with that, and it's really and it's really, how can I say, amazing, because it's like, what you're doing is special. Probably nothing from a conscious point of view.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Because if probably we ask you, like, you're not going to go through a list that we have a lot and we need to do this, we need to do that. You're not going through that list consciously, but actually unconsciously you've done it.
Yeah, you're
You've
hitting a lot of the
everything.
milestones.
You've created the environment that we do to give them that space without actually being conscious that you've done it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very much, that's always been the target. And like I said, is when I was younger, I kind of wished that there was a place like this I could have gone and been myself, you know, because I mean, as I'm sure everyone did, I feel like I was a weird kid, but when you're looking back, you always feel that way, and you always feel a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit out of place. But having a place like this, I think, would have done me the world of good. Yeah. And so that is what we're trying to do. We didn't see the place that kind of we were looking for, so we decided to try and create the place that we were looking for. And hopefully it's brought a fair bit of value to quite a few other people, and they can have better experiences than potentially I felt that I did when I was that age.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think it did. Yeah, I think it
I'm the same. I would have liked a place like this when I was younger, because I was the nerdy gamer kid, which back in my day wasn't as cool as it is now.
No.
And I would have liked to have had a place where I could come and just play some games and stuff. So I think it's great. It's awesome.
And find people that are like you, like they have the same interests that you do. You can be, again, yourself, because sometimes you go to school and if you don't feel certain patterns, you are the weird, and then the consequences of being the weird are really negative, like especially long term, and being the one that walks along all the time, because and those kids might have many things in common with you, and they don't even bother to ask you.
That's what I was thinking. You'll never find out. But imagine you come here and there's a guy that you work with or whatever, and you end up opposite a table. You're just like, oh, you're into this as well. Okay, we have more to discuss at work now.
There we go.
Exactly.
It
opens the door.
Exposing people to the fact that, like you said, we're all human and we all got wacky interests and things like that. Why not celebrate that?
Is there anything that you can tell us that you learn working alongside all of these neurodivergent people, that you say, like, actually being here those years, I learn, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is pretty much to kind of go with the flow a little bit. It is very much that case of, if you can just kind of go along with with people and with the ideas, it does build that relationship, and it can open up opportunities, and just not resisting.
There's a lot of that in the game itself, I imagine, as well, where you know they're throwing some kind of like extra thing that's happening, and everyone's got to be like, okay, we're in a cave now,
we're in this now.
And this is happening now. It's a good way to exercise that change, because a lot of things that we deal with, because we mainly deal with kids that have autism, and sometimes a change of environment or transitioning periods can be very difficult for them, because they like their routine, and they like things like their routine, and they like things the way they are. Whereas an environment like this, it's almost teaching those skills of things change. You need to improvise now. You need to
you've kind of got to have a flexible mindset to just adapt to it, because I mean, like I said, the whole place at the moment isn't what I thought it was going to be when we opened. I was genuinely expecting it to be a bit more of just kind of a gaming place where people would come in and they would settle down with the games and they would do their stuff. But it's become so much more than that, and it's kind of gone in a bit of a different direction. Now it's more, I would almost call it a little bit kind of a budding community hub. You know, it's got the potential to kind of be that kind of that meeting place kind of for the community, and I think that's so much better. But
that's great that you're going along with it. Yeah.
If we try to keep it to that original rigid template of a plan of, no, this is a gaming cafe. We come here, we play games. You know, then none of that would have happened. And I think we really would have missed out.
Yeah. So it's great that you were seeing that feedback and you just sort of went with it, and it's been beneficial and positive to pursue that.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. If anyone's ever kind of looking to do something similar to this, I think that's the number one piece of advice that I would give, is just kind of don't be too rigid with the original plan. Be flexible, be ready for the change, and kind of, you know, embrace the change and try and facilitate kind of,
that's great.
Kind of the way it goes.
Because there's so many businesses that just sort of stick to the same formula, or they've got their plan, like you say. Yeah. I mean, Loddon's similar, isn't it? I mean, since I've been at the school for over a decade now, and I've seen it change. They adapt as things go, as new kids come in and they realize, their needs are a little bit different, so let's implement this, let's put this in place, and similar to what you're saying, is that sometimes going with the flow is probably the best option, especially for people that you're dealing with social anxiety or shyness and things like that, to be open and to say, we can, we'll change it into this, and this seems more positive for you, it's more positive for us, so let's go for it.
And that makes a more kind of welcoming, fun environment for everyone. And it's meant to be fun, right? So.
Yeah, it's great.
So what would you say that the benefits or challenges that you find or found running a neurodivergent friendly place?
I think it is the vast array of the kind of neurodivergent takes. There's so many different people with so many kind of different requirements, and keeping up with that in particular is the biggest challenge, because what might be right for one person might be a trigger point for someone else. So it is kind of sometimes you do kind of feel like you're walking a little bit of a fine line between it, and that can be particularly challenging. But I'm always a firm believer that you kind of do the best that you can do, and that's there's a quote that I absolutely love, and I think it was Maya Angelou said, do the best that you know how to do until you know better, and then when you know better, do better. I'm sorry, I probably totally butchered that quote.
No. I got the gist. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's good.
But I thought that was absolutely fantastic. And the biggest challenges that we have is the learning curve. Pretty much, we've got to learn as we go. We've got to adapt as we go, and that's just kind of what we're going to continue to try to do.
Yeah, it's a good mindset. Yeah, I like it.
Good. Talking about neurodivergent friendly environment, have you got any neurodivergent people within your team working with you?
Yes.
How is that going?
It's going great. I'll be honest with you, it's kind of it's difficult to kind of say, because I know that we have people that do kind of live with neurodivergency and or identify as neurodivergent, but a lot of the time they're just team members. They're just this is their particular personality type, this is their comfort zones, this is their discomfort zones, this is how they like being spoken to, and you just like, well, okay, this is my teammate, you know. I'm here to look after them, they're here to look after me. We're kind of going to go along that. It tends to take the focus away from the neurodivergent aspect of it a little bit. It's just more of it's my teammate, you know. It's my crew.
Yes, your crew.
Which is great. So I guess that there is like an openness or an environment that they can open up and say, look, I am autistic, or I am ADHD, or I am whatever that is. And then this is my difficulties, this is my strengths. Have you had a conversation to be able to support them? Because normally we have... we talked, especially with Andy Reddy, I think came that conversation that in work environments people feel really close to open up, because once that they disclose, they feel that something bad is going to happen. They are not going to treat them in the same way. So instead of actually receiving support, they are receiving the negative side of having a label. And they make sure that they have the label. It's like open up for me that doesn't bring anything. In the other way, it brings negative things if that's the case. But
they feel cautious to dispose sometimes. Like whether they have these kind of difficulties. You know, I myself, I have dyslexia, and I'm always quite transparent about it when I'm at work. Like, it might take me a bit longer to do this and that, but you know, I'll get it done, sort of thing, because I think it's important for them to know. But I understand that I have other friends that have conditions like autism or ADHD, and they're a bit resilient to tell their employers about it, because they think, they're going to think that I'm not going to be able to concentrate, or I'm going to, veer off or stuff like that. So I think I understand that's where the challenge comes from, doesn't it? But like you said, if you're kind of label them just as like the teammate, and then, they have that empathy or that understanding for when the neurodivergent customers come in, it's quite a nice, it's almost like you said, trying to almost put it as an underlying thing, like it's not been highlighted, I suppose.
Anything that you want to tell us? Like, what would you advise other places out there for them to be neurodivergent friendly, or to be like open up for everybody, no matter who you are, how you are?
Well, I think the big word that kind of jumped out at me there is open, and just kind of trying to be open about it. I think if you're open and honest with your team, and to an extent with your customers as well, without stepping into the oversharing kind of area, that kind of helps to build the relationships. And when you kind of get those relationships going, everything becomes a lot more comfortable. Particularly if you're dealing with people that kind of are from a neurodivergent background, or are living with neurodivergency, or identify as. I think that openness encourages them to be open with you. And as soon as you've got a real conversation going, then the sky's the limit, really. You can genuinely go anywhere with it.
It's great. So the main message is to be open.
Be open. Yeah.
Say yes.
This is it. Like with my team, I know that my team have specific kind of stuff that they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, challenges that they're living with, and kind of going on with. I have them too. Like I say, it can be extremely stressful and extremely anxious kind of working here. I've kind of tried to force myself into an area where I'm comfortable to be able to speak openly about that with my team. If I'm having an off day, I'm okay to let them know, and I'm also try to make it okay for them to let me know that I'm having an off day if I'm not realizing it. And as soon as you got that openness, it kind of makes other people feel more comfortable about sharing their experiences too. And that breeds an open, honest communication where we can better interact with each other, we can better look after each other, and just create a better and more comfortable environment for all of us. Yeah,
I love the fact that you even look out for me in case I'm not aware, because there's times when I'm a little bit stressed, but I don't quite switch on that I'm stressed, and I think it's nice to have someone to just be like, "Are you all right today?" sort of thing. Just giving that little prompt, Is
it a hard day? That can be it can simply be that, and even if you're not realizing it, you can turn around and say, "Yeah, you know what? You're right. Actually, it is a hard day." And having that support, it helps you. I'll be honest with you, offering that support as well can be very fulfilling too. And it's just
Yeah,
and then you've also got the support that you're giving all the customers when they come here and giving them that experience and that fresh fun sort of vibe.
That vibe. It's very much, you create the atmosphere of this is an open place. This is a fun place, and people pick up on it.
Yeah, it spreads, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It spreads. People pick up on it. Yeah.
It's what you said. Like, I think the team that sustains the place works already with openness and then respect between each other, and I think that is something that goes through. Like, the environment is like that vibe that when you come to a place and it's like, that's a good place. I think it's something that is in the environment that you can explain, you can see, but definitely you can feel. And when things are going on, people, I think, that have that feeling as well. Like, everybody's treated with respect. You have your own place here. It doesn't matter how you are, who you are. Here we are, come. Yeah. Because I think between you guys, you are having that kind of respect between you two, and I think that's key at work. And you said something important, that when I've got a bad day, I allow myself to have the bad day.
Okay, so just closing up now, what are your future plans? And you already said that you were planning to sort of
hoping to expand. This whole thing's been an adventure, and we kind of want to take the next step in that adventure. So hopefully, having another dice tower might be the next step in that, and hopefully it's going to be as fun as this place has been.
That's great.
Nice. So you will keep both of them. You'll have two places.
That's the plan, yeah.
Have you got any idea where?
So currently, it depends on the location really at the moment and what's available. So we're keeping an eye on a few areas, but Reading, Southampton, they've come up in our primary area. We're curious to see what impact Dice Tower can have targeted at a student market as opposed to just an open kind of high street market. So it's exciting times. We'll see how it goes.
Really nice.
That's interesting as well.
Wish you the best.
We'll be ready to roll with it.
Also, you get the students while they're young. They'll be the customers for life. Man. Yeah, no, it'll be good. Awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
Great stuff.
Right, so we would like to remind our listeners and everybody, I think Nairo can give you info about that. So we have 17 members of our staff doing skydiving. They are bloody crazy. So they are fundraising some money for the school. We are building a project of 3 houses. So we are going to put the children in the main building to a new 3 bungalows. So they are funding themselves the jump, but they are fundraising money for the school. So hopefully we have some nice people giving us a little bit of some
That's
pounds
amazing.
there.
That's very brave.
Yes.
Really brave.
I would say so.
I think they're crazy, literally.
Yes. Not sure jumping out of a plane.
Yeah, some pounds will be lovely from us. And then just reminding you that we have still the open sessions in Fieldhouse Barn on the 8th of March, the next one. So all the information will come along within the podcast information alongside the Dice Tower timetable, when you open, where you are, everything needed there.
So, and people should come and check it out. Like, I'm gonna come check it out when it's open and
so
vibing.
Three key things, like where Dice Tower is open, some pounds that you have spare for our skydiving jumpers, and it's all for our children though, so it's for a good shout. And then the open sessions in Fieldhouse Barn on the 8th of March. So those 3 things just for us to close.
Great stuff. Cool. Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you so much. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you. It's been brilliant. Thank you so much.
Loved it.
So
Thank you.
Till the next one.
Stay on the spectrum.